Never thirsty. Never thirsty.
Pharcyde, real quick. I'm in Toronto, Canada at this time, and we have there's a station called Much Music, which is like the Canadian version of MTV. Sure. There was 1 hour of the week where they played rap videos, and it was called Rap City. And I remember seeing for the first time She Keeps On Passing Me By video. And immediately I went to every store to try to find this thing. And it was like, who are these guys? It was like, but that's what it was, because we only had an hour a week. So if you were played on Rap City, it was like, Helter Skelter, Pharcyde, Pete Rock. Like, what are these things? It's like
that was exciting. It was like you're an archaeologist. You're like digging, finding it's kind of, I feel that way now too, because there's so much music out there. Now you have to dig through, and so it's like it's kind of in that way too. It's still exciting to me in that way too. I love a lot of great music coming out right now too. You know what I mean? So it's weird that you said that, because it made me think about now how there's so much music, and to find that you like, you have to just like dig through all kind of other shit. Maybe go through a lot of shit that sounds exactly the same or is whack, or
So Pharcyde was uniquely different in a way that, like, first of all, they could rap, but second of all, there was like very melodic. There was like sort of singy sort of rap thing happening too, and it was a group, and it was sort of like a Tribe Called Quest, but with a little more R&B-ish kind of thing to it.
Sure. Well, the thing that was really unique about them too was that you gotta understand was they're from LA, and at that time everybody from LA had to be like a G-Funk gangster rapper. That was expected of you, And then they're like, the girls are passing me by. We're in the up car. There's 5 of us in the Pinto. You know what I mean? They're telling these reality stories that are like comical that young people could relate to. You know what I mean? Everyone's not bawling. Everyone's not like, and it was at a time too. It's funny because, man, I feel like we're so at that time right now in hip hop, but we were at a time in hip hop where it was like the glamorization of all the materialism was getting really big, and everybody was super balling and putting on pretenses of fake balling and everything. And so the Pharcyde's like, we're not balling at all, was just mad,
relatable.
And it was mad relevant, and it's kept them relevant to this day, I believe, because young kids like skaters and stuff with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, because they were sort of like on like a humble vibe. Like, they weren't like braggy, but they were really, there was music. I feel like they made songs as opposed to just raps.
There was a lot of musical influences going on. Fat Lip. I'm sorry. Jay Swift, the producer.
I was going to say that it reminded me of Alcoholics, some of the production. So I didn't even know Jay Swift was involved. Or no, maybe that's E Swift. Yeah, I got my stuff mixed up.
Yeah. But the Pharcyde album had like the Delicious Vinyl people, like Mike Ross. It had like, mostly like Jay Swift and the members of the Pharcyde really made the album. I'm not trying to give Mike Ross too much credit, but I'm just saying there were people, or he was there and around and influencing, and there were people like that. And before. And Jay Swift and the Pharcyde were with this guy, Reggie Andrews, before me. And he had kind of like a boot camp. And they worked with like really pop groups like the Good Girls and these other groups and stuff. And so they were in that environment. That's why they left, though, because they didn't fit that. And then they met me. Like, he didn't even get the Pharcyde, like the first song. And big shout out to Reggie Andrews, because great guy. He's the music teacher at the high school in Watts where Tyrese is from. He discovered Tyrese.
Wow.
Been teaching there forever. And at the same time working with, I think groups like the Whispers back in the day and all that kind of stuff. But he's been developing groups. So they had like a real music kind of like pop kind of boot camp thing going there with producers and things. And Jay Swift was a part of that. And the Pharcyde was a part of that for a while. So I think that really influenced them a lot. You know what I mean? And they were a little too weird for that. But then when they got their own chance, I think that had soaked into their brain more. And you know what I mean? And then and that's interesting you say that, because they were making songs, and I think it was just a special time, that first album. I wasn't really involved in the second album, but the first album, I mean, it was just like I say, it was just really like, it was fun. It was like you said, we felt like we were doing something like a Tribe, De La almost kind of thing on the West Coast. You know what I mean?
Right. And it had that.
There was out here. There was like in the Bay, there was Souls of Mischief. We were friends with them. We had heard their demos. There was like the guys from the Good Life Cafe, Freestyle Fellowship. So there was this underground movement of people that were kind of affiliated and stuff too, you know, and groups like the Alcoholics and stuff too, you know, all those kind of groups, you know.
So years later, Keeps on Passing Me By gets sampled in an R&B song. Was that your work again?
No, but great move. I mean, it
was like Joe or somebody.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I mean, I feel like we could just like talk for hours, and I hope that we can have another opportunity to do so again on the road with you.
Last final question you guys want to hit me with?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Neff. I've been hogging.
Now you worked with Leo.
Yeah.
And what was it like working with those guys at Def Jam? You worked with them at Def Jam, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Kevin Lyles was like a promotion guy at Def Jam when I was there. Leor was like the president. Russell was still involved. Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from Leor. I didn't really like the way the business deal went for me at the end of the day, you know. But you know,
what you mean?
There'll be more of that.
There'll
be more of that in the White Boy from Crenshaw documentary and things to come. Follow me on Instagram for updates on that, please. Paul _DJP _Stewart. I mean, I did a podcast the other day and they asked me about it, and I said, yeah, I didn't want to join the Illuminati, you know. I mean, you know, I was kidding, but in a way I'm not. Like, I mean, there was no back room Illuminati or nothing, but I'm just saying, like, I was never into jerking artists, you know what I mean? And there was a lot of that going around in the industry at that time. Still going on, but you know what I mean? It's a lot more transparent now, at least, you know, and a little different. But yeah, there's a lot of jerking of artists going around there and in that era and that time and in the hip hop genre especially. And that's just not something that I want to ever be a part of. I've always been real artist friendly, you know what I mean? So, you know, but I learned a lot in the short time I worked with him and everything. He's a very smart businessman and all that for sure. You know what I mean?
Probably because you started out as like a DJ and a fan of, you know, and that's probably why you have the, you know, I'm not doing a psychological analysis here, but I'm just saying, like, you probably have respect for the artist because you came into it loving the artists, right?
Right. My experience has been unique. First, from Crenshaw being one thing, but also, yeah, definitely like being of the culture by being kind of, you know, involved in it in a lot of ways. And just, you know, I wasn't like built like that to want to jerk artists to make a living. I mean, it's a fine line too, because as a business person in the music space or you know, you have to figure out how you can make money for your time, you know what I mean? And it can certainly go the other way, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know,
100%.
Get jerked, you know what I mean? Where they say the artist say, "Oh, I got jerked," or yeah, okay, but and then a lot of artists jerk business people that help them get to things a lot of times. You know what I mean?
It's funny, like people who talk about like you know contracts. Like let's just throw out, like, just for the argument's sake, like 10. I sign you to a deal. Paul is going to sign with Stu and Paul Stewart Stu Records, and I'm going to take 10%, right? Which is probably low. But in order for me to make $1 million on my 10%, you have to make $10 million.
Right. Well, that's like a management. Like management would be more like 10 to 20, right?
Sure. But my point is, in order for a manager to be successful, the artists that he manages or she manages have to make 10, 20, 30 million dollars for them to make $1, $2, $3 million.
I'm not trying to say there's not a lot of shady business practices out here and stuff, but we see a lot of things like Lil Uzi Vert complaining about his DJ drama deal. I don't know why. You were a SoundCloud rapper, like, you know, with 300 whatever, like if you do the math, you know, and they put you on a big tour, and like, I mean just as an example, you know what I mean? But or Chance the Rapper fired his manager who had done such a great job for so long. I mean, you know, look, you're never in the room with these people. You don't know what's going on and all this stuff, you know, so it's easy to sit back on the couch and, you know, and critique or whatever, you know, so to speak. But no, I think that, you know, it's a tough business from both sides. So, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and I'm not trying to sit here and say that anything too negative about anybody.
No, of course.
But,
no.
because I did learn a lot from working with them or whatever like that. And
I was watching the David Geffen documentary. I don't know if you saw that, but his whole vibe in the 70s seemed like you very artist friendly. Like he made a place where it was like a safe space for these artists to come in, and they just loved hanging around, and everybody worked with everybody. And it sounds like you sort of did that indirectly, but that same sort of approach, it sounds like, because you cross-pollinated this artist with that artist, and it seems like you were kind of doing those moves, right?
His biography.
Say what?
I was very influenced by his biography.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I read it later, like after I had kind of was in the middle of doing some of that stuff, but it kind of like, it did like, no, for sure. I mean, but mostly it just came organically, like you said. It wasn't really like, oh, I read his book and I was like,
right.
Because I kind of read it after I was even not doing as much of that, but it was kind of near the end of it and stuff too. But because I tried to study the craft, but no, I was just that kind of guy. My management company stuff, it was like party, dude. I mean, like everybody used to come up there. You know what I mean? We were, we had the best trees. You know what I mean? Like we were getting the new music. At first I was a street promoter. I was giving out DJs all the records and everything. So it's just always been about the music and the culture and everything. So, but look, let's schedule another time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we will.
I'm talking with you guys. You guys made me think of some things that I hadn't said before, because sometimes I always give the same answers. I like that.
That's good. I'm happy, and we'll do it again. And have fun in the Dominican, and be safe out there, man. And
I'll be back in Crenshaw shortly. Have people follow me on Instagram, Paul_DJP_Stewart, STEWART.
Yeah.
I can't private, but I follow a lot of people back. If you seem like you got something interesting going on or whatever, hit me up. Or I read my messages and stuff too, so hit me up. And
sounds good.
Man, keep going. I dig your podcast, man. Good work.
Thanks a lot, man. We'll talk.
Thank you, brother.
Really, really great, guys. It's very rare we get to chop it up with a legend like this. And thanks for your time, man. We'll do it again.
You guys have a great day, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
You too, brother.
That's Paul, everybody. Paul Stewart. Paul Stewart. He's great.
Yeah.
He's got stories, man. I mean, just like the artist, it's funny because it seems like on this podcast or show, we talk a lot about like commercial rap from like the 90s, which gets a bad rap, like from people who are like snobby hip hop people. They frown upon the commercially successful songs. The gas face, if you will. And
they still do.
Right. And I think that it's interesting that guys like us who are kind of purists, who love the real stuff, we're having this kind of dialogue where we're like giving flowers to like Tone Loc Wild Thing and, Coolio, Gangster's Paradise. And
Let me not front, though. When those songs came out, I was super New York with it. I was super underground rap with it. And
I'm sure, but I mean, you can still, it's like.
No, I'm just saying, as an adult, though, I don't feel the same way.
Right.
But as a kid growing up,
like EPMD, we used to like talk about these songs that we're talking about in not a favorable light. And I would be on EPMD's side back then.
Yeah.
But I also, at the same time, I'd go to school dances and dance parties and basement parties, and they were playing Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It, and Coolio, Gangster's Paradise, and Snow, Informer, and all these types of songs. And I was just as happy to hear those at the party.
We were probably at my parties like
we were probably going to different parties. But that was a great time, and Paul was great, and you should definitely follow him on his social medias at Paul_DJP_Stewart, STEWART. And he is Paul, who is referenced in Montel Jordan's This Is How We Do It, which is a song you should definitely listen to. We'd play it for you now, but then we'd get flagged. Shout out to Cable Guy Jeff, who made at least 25 or 30 bucks today, thanks to Paul Stewart, who dropped a couple of bombs in the swear jar. So shout out to Cabes. And shout out to all of you guys. I'm very thankful that you tuned in. Remember, never be thirsty. Stay hydrated. I take drinks with me everywhere I go. We forgot to ask Paul what his drink of choice was, but I'm sure we'll have him on again. WireFang, we didn't get much from you today, but you did set up this show, and you should get credit for all of the hard work you do behind the scenes. And you're a great guy too, Mr. Fang. So Fang you. Happy birthday to the Neff man, and we will see you. We'll speak again in a few days. This is Never Thirsty. Jitty Bambino. See you guys next time.
We out. Never thirsty.